The Galactic Athletic Commission had been preparing for the human trials for 3 years. 3 years. Director Velmoth of the Seseth Concordance stood in the observation tower above the training complex, watching his finest athletes complete their morning drills. Below, a dozen species moved through their paces, some flying, some bounding, some rippling across obstacle courses that would have killed lesser beings. "The human arrives today," his assistant Krell said quietly. "I'm aware." Velmoth didn't look away from the grounds. Couldn't, really. He'd invested too much. The Commission had invested too much. Every member world had sent their best, had trained them in facilities that cost more than some planets' entire education budgets. And now a gym teacher was coming. Not even a professional athlete. A gym teacher. From Earth. "Do we know anything else about him?" Krell asked. "His name is Colin Wright. Age 42. Teaches at a secondary institution in a place called Montana." Velmoth's translator struggled with the word. "He coaches something called track and field. He submitted his credentials 6 months ago. They were unremarkable." "Then why is he here?" Velmoth finally turned. "Because the treaty requires it. Every member world sends representatives to the trials. Earth became a member world. Therefore, he didn't finish. He didn't need to." Colin Wright arrived at 0900 station time, carrying a single duffel bag. Velmoth watched him step off the transport pad, watched him look around the facility with the kind of mild curiosity usually reserved for minor architecture. The human was tall. Most humans were, apparently, but not impressively so. Lean build, graying hair at the temples. He wore simple athletic clothing that looked almost apologetic in its plainness. "Mr. Wright," Velmoth said, extending the Seseth greeting gesture. "Welcome to the Commission trials." "Thanks." Colin shifted the bag to his other shoulder. "Sorry I'm late. Shuttle got delayed at the 3rd gate." "You're not late. You're precisely on time." "Oh, good." There was a pause. Colin looked around the tower, then back at Velmoth. "So, where do I go?" "First, we'll need to assess your baseline capabilities. All participants undergo—" Sure, where's the track?" Velmoth blinked. "The track?" "Yeah, or whatever you use here, the running surface. We have multiple training environments. Ground-based, aerial, aquatic, zero gravity. Let's start with ground-based," Colin said. "Keep it simple." The assessment took 4 hours. Velmoth watched all of it. He told himself he was being thorough, ensuring proper protocol. But really, he was trying to understand what he was seeing. The human was fine. Not impressive. Not terrible. Just fine. His sprint times were mediocre compared to the Kelvar runner who could hit 80 kilometers per hour on flat ground. His strength was laughable next to the Grenth competitor, who could deadlift her own body weight times 12. His jumping ability was barely a quarter of what the low-gravity Pyths could manage. But Colin didn't seem bothered by any of it. He ran the sprints at a steady pace, never pushing hard, never seeming winded. He completed the strength tests without strain. He jumped, climbed, swam through the aquatic course, and answered every question Krell asked him with the same mild, almost distracted politeness. "How do you feel?" Krell asked after the final test. "Good. A little warm, maybe." Colin pulled off his shirt, it was soaked through, and reached for a towel. "What's next?" "Next is rest. You've been testing for 4 hours. "Oh, I'm fine. What's the schedule?" Krell looked at Velmoth. Velmoth looked at his datapad. "The trials begin in 3 days. Until then, you're free to train with the other competitors. Observe their methods. Familiarize yourself with—" "Can I see the actual trial course?" Colin asked. Yes. Of course. This way." The trial course was the pride of the Commission. 8 kilometers of varied terrain, obstacles, environmental challenges, and randomized hazards. It tested speed, strength, endurance, problem-solving, and adaptability. The record time was held by a Seseth athlete who'd completed it in 41 minutes, 18 seconds. Most competitors took over an hour. Some didn't finish at all. Colin stood at the starting line, hands on his hips, looking down the course. It stretched into the distance, disappearing into a manufactured canyon, then rising into a vertical section that required climbing, then dropping into the aquatic zone. "How long's the record?" he asked. 41 minutes, 18 seconds. Huh. Colin walked along the starting area, looking at the terrain. He knelt down, touched the ground, stood up. Looked at the sky, artificial, but calibrated to match standard atmospheric conditions. "What's the temperature range?" 18 to 32 degrees standard. "Wind?" "Variable. Controlled by the environmental system." Colin nodded slowly. "And we're allowed to walk the course beforehand?" "Yes, most competitors spend days studying it." "Makes sense." He started walking. Not running. Walking. Velmoth followed at a distance, watching. The human moved slowly, stopping occasionally to look at obstacles, to touch surfaces, to gauge distances. He spent 20 minutes just examining the climbing section, looking up at the handholds, testing their grip. At the aquatic zone, he took off his shoes and waded in. "The water is safe," Krell called out. "I know, just checking the temperature." Colin stood there for a moment, knee-deep, then waded back out. "Okay," he said. "I think I'm good." "You're finished?" "Yeah, it's a nice course, well designed." Velmoth felt something prickle at the back of his mind, something he couldn't quite name. "Most competitors spend much longer studying the terrain," he said carefully. Colin smiled. It was a small smile, not smug, not dismissive, just knowing. "Yeah," he said. "I bet they do." The trials began on schedule. 12 competitors. 12 species. The best athletes their worlds could provide. Colin Wright drew the 8th starting position. Velmoth watched the first 7 runs from the observation tower. The Kelvar runner posted an excellent time, 40 minutes, 12 seconds, breaking the old record. The Grenth athlete struggled with the climbing section, but dominated the strength obstacles. The Pyth flyer set a record in the aerial portion, but nearly drowned in the aquatic zone. Then it was Colin's turn. He stepped up to the starting line in the same plain clothing he'd worn on the first day. No special equipment. No performance enhancements. Just a human in shorts and a shirt, stretching his calves. The starting signal sounded. Colin started running. Not sprinting. Running. A steady, even pace. "He's going too slow," Krell said, watching the monitors. Velmoth didn't answer. On screen, Colin moved through the opening sprint section at what looked like a training pace. The Kelvar had blazed through this part, hitting maximum speed, burning energy. Colin just ran. Steady. Controlled. He hit the first obstacle, a wall climb, and went up it without hesitation. No pause, no assessment. Just grabbed the holds and climbed. "He studied it," Krell murmured. "They all studied it." "No, he learned it." Colin dropped from the wall, landed, kept running. Same pace. The monitor showed his heart rate, elevated but not strained. His breathing, steady. Through the canyon section. Over the balance beams. Under the crawl spaces. Same pace. Same pace. Same pace. The other competitors had varied their speeds, sprinting through easy sections, resting at hard ones. Colin didn't change. He just moved. One foot in front of the other. Breathing. Running. At the 20-minute mark, he was in 3rd place. At 30 minutes, he was in 2nd. At 35 minutes, he took the lead. Velmoth leaned forward. On screen, Colin entered the final stretch, a long, flat sprint to the finish. Every other competitor had hit this section exhausted, stumbling, fighting for every step. Colin was still running. Same pace. He crossed the finish line at 38 minutes, 41 seconds. New course record. And he wasn't even breathing hard. The second day of trials, Colin ran the course again. 38 minutes, 39 seconds. Third day, 38 minutes, 42 seconds. By the fourth day, the other competitors had stopped trying to beat him. They were just trying to understand how. Velmoth called a meeting with the senior assessors. "It's not natural," one of them said. "He must be enhanced, genetically modified, chemically augmented. He's been tested. Multiple times. He's baseline human." "Then explain it." Velmoth pulled up the data feeds. "Look at his performance curves. Every other competitor shows degradation over multiple runs. Fatigue, micro-injuries, psychological strain. Colin writes times. Stabilize. He's found his optimal pace and he simply maintains it. Day after day." Silence. "It's the pacing," Krell said quietly. "He never pushes hard. Never maxes out. He stays below his threshold and just maintains." "That's not a strategy," the Grenth assessor said. That's just running." "Yes." Another silence. "Humans are pursuit predators," Velmoth said slowly. The words felt strange in his mouth. "I researched their evolutionary history. On Earth, early humans hunted by chasing prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They didn't need to be fast. They just needed to..." "Keep going. That was tens of thousands of years ago. Was it?" Velmoth looked at the screen, at Colin's latest run. "Because it doesn't look like they've forgotten." On the seventh day, something changed. Colin showed up to the course, did his normal warm-up, and stopped. He walked over to where the Pyth competitor was sitting, looking dejected. Velmoth couldn't hear the conversation from the tower, but he saw Colin kneel down, saw him gesture at the course, saw him talking, explaining something. After a few minutes, the Pyth stood up. They walked the course together. Colin pointed things out, showed the Pyth different approaches to obstacles, different ways to conserve energy. The Pyth listened, head tilted, then tried a few sections again. Slower this time. More controlled. That afternoon, the Pyth posted a personal best. The next day, Colin did the same thing with the Grenth athlete. Then the Kelvar. Then 2 more competitors. By day 10, half the field was running slower. And posting better times. Krell found Velmoth in his office after the day's runs. "He's teaching them," Krell said. "I know. He's a gym teacher. He came here and he's teaching." Velmoth nodded slowly. "The humans didn't send their best athlete. They sent their best teacher." "Why would they do that?" "Because..." Velmoth paused. "Because they knew we'd all be watching. Studying. Trying to learn their methods. So they sent someone who could teach those methods. Who could show the entire galaxy that human endurance isn't special genetics or secret training. It's just patience. Process. Understanding your own limits and staying below them. Forever, if necessary." Krell sat down. "That's terrifying," he said quietly. "Yes. The other species will learn this. They'll integrate it into their training. In 10 years, every athlete in the Commission will be using human endurance techniques." "Yes. And the humans want that." Velmoth looked at the monitor, where Colin was jogging, through a cool-down lap, talking with 3 other competitors who jogged alongside him. "I think," Velmoth said slowly, "the humans already knew they'd win this. The trials, the records, the medals. They knew. So they decided to do something more useful. They decided to teach." "Teach what?" "That endurance isn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about being willing to keep going when everyone else has stopped. It's about understanding that the race isn't won in the sprint. It's won in the 5,000th step. The 10,000th. The one where everyone else decided it wasn't worth it anymore." Krell was quiet for a long moment. "What do we do?" he asked finally. Velmoth smiled. It was a tired smile. "We learn," he said. "What else can we do?" The final trial took place on day 15. All 12 competitors ran together this time, a mass start, a true race. Colin Wright started in the middle of the pack. He didn't try to take the lead. Didn't sprint out ahead. He just ran. Same pace he'd used every other day. Steady. Controlled. Breathing. The Kelvar runner surged ahead early, blazing through the first kilometer. The Grenth athlete powered through the strength obstacles. The Pyth took to the air in the flying section. Colin just kept running. Same pace. By the halfway point, the early leaders were flagging. Breathing hard. Slowing down. Colin kept running. By the final stretch, he was in first place. But he wasn't alone. The Pyth was right behind him. Then the Grenth. Then two others. All of them running slower than they'd ever run before. All of them still running. Colin crossed the finish line first. 36 minutes, 12 seconds. New course record. New galactic record. The Pyth crossed 6 seconds later. Personal best. The Grenth, 10 seconds after that. Personal best. 3 more competitors finished within the next minute. All of them posting times they'd never achieved before. All of them still running. Still going. In the observation tower, Velmoth watched Colin Wright walk over to each competitor, shake their hands, say something that made them laugh, or nod, or both. "He's not even breathing hard," Krell whispered. "No," Velmoth said. "He's not." The closing ceremony took place that evening. Colin Wright stood on the podium, gold medal around his neck, looking slightly uncomfortable with the attention. Velmoth gave the traditional speech, congratulated all the competitors, praised their dedication and skill. Then he did something unusual. He invited Colin to speak. The human blinked, surprised, then stepped up to the microphone. Thanks." Colin looked out at the crowd. Hundreds of beings, dozens of species. "I don't really have a prepared speech or anything. I just want to say that you're all incredible athletes. Faster than me, stronger than me, more skilled in about 100 different ways. I'm just a gym teacher from Montana. I teach kids how to run laps and not hate it." Scattered laughter. "But I think the reason I'm standing here is because humans learned a long time ago that you don't have to be the best. You just have to be willing to keep going. To keep trying. To show up every day and do the work, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it." He paused. "And the thing is, now you all know that too. You don't need me to teach you anymore. You've got it. So next year when we do this again, I'm probably going to lose. Because you're all faster learners than I am." He smiled. "That's okay though, that's kind of the point." Colin stepped back from the microphone. The applause was uncertain at first. Then it grew. And grew. Velmoth found himself clapping too, watching the human gym teacher wave awkwardly and step off the stage. Later, in his office, Krell asked, "Do you think he meant that? About losing next year?" Velmoth thought about it. Thought about Colin Wright, jogging through cool-down laps, talking with other athletes, showing them pacing strategies and breathing techniques. Thought about how the human had never once tried to keep his methods secret, had never once treated this as competition. "No," Velmoth said quietly. "I don't think he'll lose. But he said we'd all get faster. And we will. But humans have been doing this for how long? 50,000 years? 100,000? They've had that much time to optimize, to refine, to perfect the art of just continuing." He looked at the data feeds, at the new records, at the improvement curves. "We'll catch up eventually," he said. "Maybe in a few generations. Maybe in a few thousand years. But until then," Velmoth smiled. "Until then, I think the humans will just keep going." Colin Wright left the station the next morning. Single duffel bag. Same plain clothes. Same mild expression. Velmoth met him at the transport pad. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Thanks for having me. It was fun." "Will you return next year? Defend your title?" Colin thought about it. "Maybe. If my school gives me the time off. We've got a big track meet in the spring, and I don't like missing that." "I see." They stood there for a moment. "Can I ask you something?" Velmoth said. "Did you know, before you came here, did you know you would win?" Colin's expression didn't change.